You could be running the best ads in the world, but if your team is a revolving door of just okay hires, you're never going to be scaling. You're just surviving. So today's guest is here to fix that. Welcome back to Million Dollar Marketing, the podcast that pulls back the curtain on what's actually working in high level marketing and business growth. And today I am joined by someone who's not going to talk about ad strategy. I know, interesting for a marketing podcast, right? But we're actually talking about some of the secret growth strategies and engines behind it, which is people. All right. So Angelique is my guest today, and she didn't just fall into HR. She built her consulting firm out of necessity while traveling and living abroad. And she scaled it from solo hustle to strategic infrastructure. And she builds this infrastructure for 7-figure businesses. She's got over 20 years of experience in HR, marketing, and operations. And she's the woman that CEOs call when they're ready to go from chaos to clarity and scale with confidence. Angelique, welcome to Million Dollar Marketing.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. Ready for this
Yeah.
conversation.
Sweet. All right. We're going to jump in right away to like the HR and like scaling connection. Okay. So why do you think businesses need to get serious about hiring before they scale?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many reasons, but like the main thing is until you are to a point where there's only so much that you can do by yourself, right? And our first go-to is, I just need somebody to take this list of things off of my plate. And it's not really a strategic thought, right? It's really just, okay, you can do these things. Great. Like go, here's an SOP, right? But then as your business continues to grow, that person may not be the actual person that you need, right? And then you have awkward conversations about trying to move them or not. And it's really about being able to grow exponentially because you've got other people that are removing you from the minutia and you just worrying about the strategy and the CEO and visionary piece of your business, which is what we all try to get to as we hire team members.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So I know you have some marketing background for sure. So you've run the Facebook ads, you've done funnels, you've done webinars, things like that. But
Yeah.
if internal operations are messy, it's really like pouring water into a leaky bucket. It's really not great. So how does HR impact your return on ad spend or even return on your marketing efforts? Julie, our coach, calls this MER, our marketing efficiency ratio. So how does scaling the team correctly how is that a long-term marketing success move?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of goes back to finances, right? Because the one conversation that I have often is HR is not a thing that is going to bring money in. There's not really a financial return on investment that you can tangibly see, right? Like when you talk about ads, you're looking for a specific ROAS, right? And you can quantify that with a number. Now, I can do that as well because I've been doing this for 2 decades, but oftentimes that comes down to the money that you're saving because you're not getting into trouble, right? Which then allows you to put money back into marketing and so on and so forth. But ideally, it's really about finding the people that are amazing at whatever they do, putting them in the right seats on the bus, right? So the bus is moving forward, your business being the bus, and having them in the right seats so that we're not just hustling in our businesses, right? We've got a team, but like we're still checking everything that they're doing. We are still going back and figuring out, actually, this isn't what I wanted, right? So it's really, in terms of the marketing piece, it's really about making it seem and not just, let me say this again. In terms of marketing, we do a lot of marketing for ads and other things to our clients, to our customers, to our potential leads, right? But we need to be doing that same marketing effort for the people that are joining our team so that they are just as invested in the business that you're trying to grow as you are, rather than, well, I've got 5 clients because I'm a contractor in your business. Sure, I'm going to give you your 10 hours a week or your 20 hours a week, and then I'm going to keep it moving. Whereas they are invested as much as you are in growing this business and seeing that vision come to fruition.
Okay. So that is a really great way for me to segment into my next couple of questions because I want to talk about strategic hiring. And it makes a lot of sense. So what are your best tips for figuring out like exactly who you need to hire next on your team?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing is it's before you even think about who you need to hire, you need to understand what your business is about and what type of people, yourself included, are going to thrive, right? Because sometimes you're looking for somebody that just is going to take whatever you tell them to do and they are going to be a rock star at that. But other times you need somebody that's more strategic. Like you say, I don't really have an idea of what this looks like, but here's what I'm thinking. Can you make that happen? Right? Those are two very different people. And it doesn't matter if you're looking for a finance person, if you're looking for a marketing person, if you're looking for a community coach, if you're looking for, a marketing director and, all of that stuff, a creative director versus somebody that's just scheduling things and putting the words in that you've given them. Those are, I mean, your folks in marketing, they know this difference, right? And you know this difference because I know that you were recently doing some hiring yourself within your team.
Yeah.
So it makes a difference about first knowing here's what my business is about and here are the people that are going to thrive, because it's really less about the skill. And I will tell people, and this is the thing that kind of scares people a bit, but I will tell people hire for personality and what fits in your business, because those are the folks that can pick up other things as your business grows and can adjust and grow with your business, rather than, okay, I need a marketing scheduler, right? Or I need a marketing manager, or I need an operations assistant. Yes, those are great. And you can have somebody do those skills, but it's really about here's what I need now. And I had this vision for 3-5 years in the future. So this is what I'm going to need later. Can this person help in that?
Right, right. And that's, I just posted a quote from a friend of mine, Alex Sharfin. I just posted it a couple days ago on my Facebook. It was basically about how, like, if you hire true believers in your company, you'll never have to motivate them. And if you are hiring the wrong people, you literally cannot motivate them enough. Like, nothing will do the trick of getting them to actually come behind you and support you the way that you need. So yeah, a very strategic way of doing that. I like that. So let's get real a second. What's the difference between a butts in seats hire and a growth hire?
Yeah. So the butts and seats is what I said earlier. It's like, I just need somebody to do this thing, right? Like I have this launch coming up and I need this list of tasks off of my plate so that I can make sure that I'm meeting my timeline markers for this launch, that I've got all the stuff 30 days out, 2 weeks out, whatever that looks like. Or you've got your calendar for the rest of the year and you're going to need some help. So I just need them to take this stuff off and I'll do the rest. That's not being strategic, right? Because that still has you doing a lot of the stuff because you've given them a very specific list or a few tasks, right? It's about saying, okay, if I'm going to be focused on whatever the thing is that you're focused on, right? And again, it's about knowing your business in the next year. What do I need off of my plate in order to be able to do that? And it's not going to be the scheduling stuff and the right. There's more to it than that, because any VA can do that. And that's likely going to be your first hire, but it's the second hire and the hires after that can be difficult, right? So it's about not just, oh yeah, you look good, you're ready to go, you're available now, but it's actually, these are the skills that I need. And it looks like you've got those. And we work well together just in the conversations that you've had and how they ask questions in the interview and application process, all of those things.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. That's amazing. And I know you've got a story too about a client that went from like, I don't know, a high 6 figures, but to like a multi-million-dollar business with team strategy being the revenue unlock there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like a lot of online businesses, she had a number of contractors, and contractors are okay, right? I'm not knocking contractors off. I am a contractor in businesses, right? So I'm not talking smack about contractors at all. And it was really just, yeah, we need more people because these 3 that we have on the team already are only working so many hours. So we hired somebody else. But it got to a point where we had a lot of folks doing the same thing at a little bit of hours, right? And we
Yeah.
couldn't move around if something big came up, a big launch or something outside of the norm, right? Outside of the normal flow wasn't working. So it's like, okay, let's start to put actual job descriptions to what people are doing so that the next hire that we have, it's not just somebody else in this space or somebody else in this space, but what are the skills gaps that we're missing across the team so that when we have a launch that might be 2 weeks longer, I mean, we did a month-long launch at one point, but when we do a launch that's longer, who can shift and adjust outside of what they were just brought in for, right? And so we started to put in job descriptions. We put in, different ways of running team meetings. We put in certain processes for onboarding and for onboarding for team, right? Because we always hear about onboarding for clients, but onboarding for team so that whenever we did have somebody, it didn't take everybody out of whatever they were doing for 2 weeks while we tried to figure out what that person was doing. So it was really
Right.
just about focusing in on bringing somebody new into the team. And if somebody needed to go, because you have emergencies, right? It's not all about the business all the time. And business is not, it doesn't go down because you lose somebody, whether that's you as the CEO or a member of your team that's doing really key and critical tasks in your business.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, so interesting that you said something about onboarding because that's like my next question. Do you have like a simple onboarding process? I mean, just the high level overview that helps new hires really come in and feel like they're an MVP and not just a task rabbit?
Yeah, I mean, overall onboarding, it's not about like, hey, I'm so proud of myself because I have all of these SOPs ready to go and I've got them for you, right? Because like, dropping and ditching, right? Like the posting and praying, don't do that. Here's all my
I feel
SOPs.
seen. I swear to you, I did this and I have regrets. Like I have
I
done
mean,
that. I'm like,
yeah.
okay, I know this person has a similar personality to me and they probably can like figure out anything that I hand them. So here you go.
Yeah, yeah,
Have
and
fun.
and it's our default, right? Because we're like, we've done all the work. That's what our brain tells us. We've done all the work. We've gotten all of the stuff down on paper for you, and all you have to do is go read. And when you have questions, ask me. But
Yeah.
like, it's overwhelming, right? And it doesn't set the person up for success because they're going to have a bunch of questions and they're
Yeah.
going to take you out of whatever you're doing every time they have questions, or it's going to stop what they're doing until you're available to answer those questions, right? Whether
Yeah.
that's you or somebody else in your team. But it's about introducing them not just to their role and what they're doing, but to your team, to your business, to how you run things, and to your company, right? So that you can say, hey, here's what we're about. And once they start to understand those basics of the organization and the company and how you all work, they are less likely to ask questions because they're like, oh, well, here's what this is, right? So it's about not just giving them all your SOPs, but giving them one project or whatever one thing, right? If it's a VA, maybe the first thing that they manage is starting to answer some emails. And I wouldn't start there, but as a high level,
For an
right?
example. Okay.
Right. And the reason why I say don't start there is just because until they get to know how whoever's inbox they're managing is running, it's going to be a lot of questions for you. Right. So
Yeah.
start with the point is whatever you start with one task and really let them get in there, start doing it after a brief explanation of whatever it is, and then say, okay, go take this and ask me questions. Once they are not coming back to you a few times a day to ask you questions, then move on to the next thing, right? But that's why the butts and seat staffing is not a good plan, because if you're doing
Yeah.
the butts and seat staffing, you need somebody yesterday and you don't have time to do an onboarding like that, right?
Right.
And so then 6 months down the road, you're like, why aren't they getting this? Yeah, it's because you didn't set them up for success. Sorry.
Oopsie. In the Midwest, we say, oh,
Yep. And then you
oh
just
my
course
God.
correct. Okay, let's step back, right? And just appreciate that you have responsibility in their onboarding as much as they do, right? Because that's the other thing. It's understanding that it's not just up to them to get the information, but for you to really set them up for success, however that looks like in your business.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Okay. I want to tie things into marketing a little bit. So let's say someone's like ready to scale with ads and they've got a really great offer. The funnel's converting really, really well, but the team like can't handle the volume of So let's say it's my business, for example, right? Done for you ads. So how does having a strong hiring and operations systems support the results with that?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing that I can say is, again, if you're not necessarily hiring for skill, I mean, and when I say that, please hear me. I'm not saying if they can't do the job that you're looking for them to do, don't hire them, okay? But
Right.
it goes beyond that. Your number one is for personality fit and based on your values, do they fall in line with that? And then number two is skill, because at that point it's about across the team, whoever you have, however many you have, making sure that you are or they are not the one person doing that. So that if you need to course correct, they're not getting it right. And somebody else is stronger in this area, then maybe you need to switch, right? And do things. The other thing is being able to, as the business owner or as the manager, however big your team is, being able to go back and say, okay, well, we set this up with the onboarding process and I gave you a clear idea of what this looked like and you look like you had it. And so what wasn't clear at the time, let's go back through that and go forward. If you've got somebody that can move in and out of different skill sets because it's not just the one skill set that you hired them for, then that is
Yeah.
going to make it go further, right? And make what they're doing go further, right? Whether that's marketing or something else.
Yeah.
Does that make
It's so
sense?
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Because people say like jack of all trades, master of none. But you know the rest of that quote? Oftentimes better than a master of one because they've mastered multiple skills. Why is that wrong? Right? Like it's just I'm really good at a lot of different things. I can be hired in as a CMO. I could go take on a graphic designer role. I could do copywriting. I could do all of those things. But let's get real, at the place where I'm at in my business, that is not strategic for me to be trying to do all of those things. And so, yeah, I've had to hire out specific team members with specific skills while also wanting to have that really good culture fit, that really good company culture. It enhances the enjoyment of how I can show up in my business on top of the results that we can get for our clients. Like we're all working so well together. I have an incredible company culture. I- I'm sure there's, holes and things here and there, ways to optimize, especially when it comes to onboarding new team members. But, as far as all of that goes, I'm so happy. And you did mention earlier a recent hiring process that I was going through. And just so you know, because maybe I updated you a little bit. I made an excellent choice and I am so happy. Like there are bottlenecks that have resolved. There are things that are happening that are so much smoother. And like it ended up being a really amazing blessing in disguise. No shade at all to my previous person at
Yeah.
all. But it ended up being like such a blessing. And I am in a place where I'm ready to, scale, bring on more clients. And because I'm absolutely confident that this bottleneck that we did have is now resolved with this new hire. So I'm in a really great place. So hats off to you too. Like, thank you. Cause you supported me in that. So, all right, I've got a couple of rapid fire questions. This should be fun, not anxiety provoking.
Okay. I'll take your
But
word
let's
for
get
it.
through this. All right. Okay. So, what's the number one takeaway for entrepreneurs who are trying to scale with a team?
Oh goodness. Rapid fire for that question. Uh, Number one takeaway. Know your business before you try and bring somebody into your business, meaning your
Okay.
mission, your vision, your values.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I agree. All right. What's one thing you wish more marketers knew about HR?
Thing. Goodness, these rapid fire. Okay, so I'm going to say the most popular one. There is a difference between contractors and employees. And that difference is not simply that employees cost you more in your business, because they will do more long term for your business than a contractor ever will. That's the one thing.
Ooh, that's saucy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I should have brought that up earlier. I feel like we can unpack that a little bit more. Okay. All right. This is a fun one. What is your favorite like CEO guilty pleasure that helps keep you sane on a chaotic workday?
Okay, so this is going to seem like a guilty pleasure, but I get Thai massages every week in the middle of the work week.
Yes.
Like that is
Yeah.
a thing. I mean, I do that instead of physical therapy. That's a personal choice. But yeah, it's pretty lush to get a massage every week. So I'm just going to take that and own it.
Absolutely. I think that's amazing. Okay, if you could hire anyone as your next team member, dead or alive, real or fictional, who would it be and why?
Oh, who would I hire? These are not rapid fire questions, like by any means.
Yeah.
Um, Somebody fun. And it's probably somebody alive, but it has to be somebody fun because if I'm not laughing, like I'm just not enjoying, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know.
You don't
It's a
know. All
I
right.
don't know.
Somebody
I don't know.
fun. She's got the idea of what she's looking
Do.
for.
I'm gonna come
That might.
back to you on that. We'll put that in the show notes because like I
All
feel like
right.
that's an answer that I have to provide and I just cannot
TBD.
think of somebody, but
Yeah,
it would definitely be somebody.
TBD. Okay, this is a fun one. What's one business rule that you think, or like HR rule that you actually think is total BS and wish more people would challenge?
Oh, that people would challenge. Um, that in order for HR to be relevant for me, I have to have a team. I'm calling BS on that. You can start an
Ooh.
HR focus before you even hire somebody.
Okay. All right. Well, all right. So tell me then, here's our last question. Where can people connect with you and learn more from you? Because obviously, I'm sure you're breaking this down somewhere of like why HR needs to be a focus before you start hiring people. That is a spicy take. So I know that you've got content on this and people need to hear more from you. So drop that for me.
Yeah, so I put regular videos up on my YouTube channel, which is HR with Angelique. That'll be in the show notes. And then I also have, just for your guests, I pulled out a bonus from my monthly HR subscription, which is an HR compliance checklist. And it's going to go through each of the areas that, hiring and benefits and policies that you want to be thinking about in terms of being compliant, because it's not the thing that people think, because it's not sexy, but you need to do it. So, and I've got a link at my website, angeliquelucas.com/Jodi, Jodi,
Yeah.
just for your folks so they can go and download that for free.
I love that. I love that. And my belief is truly that ads are just a feeder into a system. And so, if we're feeding ads into a system that's broken, even if it's a back end HR issue that's broken, that you're going to end up scaling something negatively. Like it's going to amplify what's broken. And if that's a team issue, Angelique is your gal and she can help you out with that. So if you've been focusing all your time on getting more traffic, more eyeballs, Angelique just reminded us that scaling happens behind the scenes as well. So you don't just need ads, you need a team that can carry the weight. So thank you for listening to another episode of the Million Dollar Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Jodi Sodini. And don't forget that if you're not moving ahead, then you're falling behind. And we want marketing with momentum. That's what gives us that $1 million business. Tune in next time for another episode of Million Dollar Marketing. Stop.